and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the pod, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo.
We are live.
Do it for Deuce
No!
and Mo.
You're not getting a fake one. And you know what? I don't think the people who watch us all the time that pop or that we are live, they don't want a fake one. We're live, and I'm happy to be here because we go live after every single game. How we doing, Night Chat?
What up, Deuce?
Hey.
Hey, Morgan.
My rashes are growing.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I know. We need it right now, okay? Kings are off till Monday.
Let's
go,
Kings.
Woo! My goodness. We've reached the halfway point of the NBA season for the Sacramento Kings. And the Kings get limping to that halfway point. Next game is coming up on Monday. And boy, do they need some time to think about things and get ready for a Hawks team on Monday before hitting the road for 2 weeks. How we doing? How we doing?
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know how I am, honestly. It's such a mix. I have so many mixed emotions because I'm not going to lie. I was so excited for tonight's game to be over so then we can get to Night Chat.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Oh,
why? Yeah. Oh, because you're excited to get to Night Chat. No, because it's like Night Chat is like, this is my Friday night hanging out with friends talking basketball, right? It's
Thursday.
a Thursday. I
Yeah.
know.
But I hear you.
But for for the most part, and because we don't have a game until Monday, and it's like I finally get to like breathe for a second, get some things done tomorrow. Love that. But I'm just not going to be as happy doing it, you know? Just not going to be in this like good mood.
I think
doing
too. It's and I'm officially I'm hold me accountable, everybody.
What?
I'm done going into any game this year thinking it's a win.
Hold him accountable. Hold him accountable.
Yes.
Hold him
Because
accountable.
I'll tell you what. When I saw that injury report, I saw, man, Haliburton's not playing. The guys that they traded obviously are gone. So, Bruce Brown, that's a loss for them. Him not in the lineup. And, man, they're playing a whole bunch of guys. Guys coming back from injury. The trade just happened. Kings will come out a little fired up after what happened against the Suns the other night.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong in every stretch of the imagination. I don't know. I'm questioning a lot with this team, and it's a bummer. It's a bummer, Like I think we all want the same thing, and come on here. I mean, you're gonna turn on other places, and they're gonna be screaming and yelling, and it's like, okay, but what are you telling me? We're gonna try our best to break down what happened specifically tonight, and look ahead to like what are the answers. The trade deadline is coming up, but it's not here yet. And you're wondering, could something happen soon? I think we've said this multiple times now. Like, the Kings do need something soon. Stuff is missing at this point. I mean, we're halfway through the season.
Yeah, I think, well, one, you say that, but at the same time, you have Mike Brown before the game talking about my lineups and rotations are all going to change probably through All-Star break. That's usually like
but he wants to keep this one for a minute.
He does.
Yeah.
But my point is like, you just see that even though we might have this vision of, hey, everything should be figured out after 20 games, what your identity is, who your starting lineup, what, your rotation's a little tighter, whatever. It's just not how it's going to always be.
Yep.
And that doesn't make it wrong. But right now, when you're not winning games and TJ McConnell is going off, is when you go, oh, well, something's going wrong.
That was TJ McConnell?
No.
I'm sorry. I thought that was prime Steve Nash coming off 2 straight MVPs with what he was doing out there.
Got it.
Number one, before we get started tonight, we're going to try to have as much fun as we can because we're Deuce and Mo. We appreciate you guys so much for being here. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Shout out to a couple of super chats, including Luke, who donated $5, said, you made my daughter's nights being able to see you before the game. Thank you. I don't know if you're talking about me.
Probably me.
No, of course.
Probably me.
I mean, she probably went home disappointed if she didn't meet Deuce Mason. Shout out to Leezy for becoming a member again, 20 straight months. He says, Deuce, don't be mad. Be authentic. I like it. And
No,
I'm just going to
be mad.
Oh. Don't be mad. Be authentic. I like it.
Where did you see
I like to say people say be mad, be authentic. I'm going to be me. If I'm mad, trust me.
Not himself.
Did you hear me on postgame tonight on TV? I was over there like, I was a mess. Keegan Murray Watch donates $5. Soul searching time. Beam drop. 8 days and counting.
Aww.
Was that a poem? Felt like poetry there.
Soul searching time. Beam drought. 8 days and counting.
I have a song I might debut on the podcast.
No, you don't.
I do. I just came up with it.
Wow.
But please don't try to like.
Why don't you just do it right now?
Fine.
Yeah, because if you just came up with it, I just like, let's test run it, and then I'll ask
Test
for
run
it.
it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can participate in the beginning, but don't like
shit.
try to
Okay.
like finish my words like you do sometimes.
Oh, that's fun, but okay.
Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, I'm pulling out my hair.
That's all you have.
I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
I thought it was a
but
funny
then
bit to feel the anger. You
it
know what I mean?
is.
We're halfway there. Oh, we're pulling because halfway through the season, I'm frustrated pulling out my hair. Mike Bibby at one point said, "Man, dude, during the game, he goes, man, you're getting stressed out. Your hair's gonna look like mine soon."
He did say that.
Yeah.
And then Perry, our audio guy who has a bald top, said,
Yeah.
you're actually going to look like mine, Deuce. And we're like, oh, shit. Everyone just needs to keep their hair in place
Yeah.
and watch the game.
Before we get started,
Deuce is going to try and figure out more lyrics.
we're
Proceed.
halfway there.
Oh, pulling out my hair. Take my hand.
Make a stupid free throw. You missed 14 tonight. Would have won the game.
Wow. Play some defense on my
man.
channel.
Oh, dude, TJ McConnell.
Don't blitz his ass and play some real defense.
And also, like, when we talk about TJ McConnell tonight, I need to make something clear.
What?
I love TJ McConnell, but what are we doing here?
There we go.
I really like him. I like him.
I
but
get what you're saying.
I mean-
You're trying to give him the respect he deserves, but also like, shit, you can shut down Devin Booker, but you can't shut. And again, no disrespect, because TJ McConnell, like, we've seen him go off.
Live in the chest says, I saw Deuce was locked in the whole game. No spreadsheet notes tonight. I did have my spreadsheet notes, but the way I was sitting, because I was doing TV tonight, the computer was behind me, so I turn around during timeouts and write it down. In fact, at one point, we have TVs in front of us too. I was watching the TV at the end of the game, and there's some fans going, Deuce, you gotta watch the game, because they're coming back. I'm like, it's in front of me. Like, what? And also, I knew the result. I wasn't facing that way. I wasn't facing the court, because this whole like cute comeback at the end, I was, you guys, what are we doing here? Like, stop it. A little too late.
You were a dick about it.
It wasn't happening.
I know, but you were a dick about it.
I just need everybody to know this too.
What?
When I'm frustrated with this team, it's all out of love. It's passion. It's not hatred. I am just frustrated because I look at this team and I go, this team is better than how it's playing. And I know they need some changes for sure, but this is just like crazy to me.
I think
it's this bad.
For anyone that's been here long enough, I think they already know that.
Yeah.
Let me just check on the.
Yeah, we got
legless.
we got to check on Carlin, by the way, who's becoming a little more independent now, right? But he's used to he's dragging those back legs around. Do we have poop?
No, he's just sleeping.
Oh, he's sleeping. Carlin is sleeping. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. Seriously, it means the world. We'll try to make it through it. Try to make
it through.
Yes, we're going to get through this together is what I was trying to say.
Have fun. Hey, here's my thing. We can all like share our emotions, but at the end of the day, we are talking hoops. You can be passionate. You can be angry. You can be all the things. You be you. I'm going to be me. And like, I've had time to decompress a little bit. And I'm excited for 2 days. I'm excited for some rest for myself, selfishly. And I am personally going to have fun talking basketball. I'm not going to, just even saying that out loud, it was like, well, there's not a lot of fun to
there's
talk
going to be like
about
some
with
breaking
this
news
game.
over the weekend. We're going to have to go live for like 4 hours. So get ready for anything.
No, there's not.
No?
Don't do that.
Okay.
Knock on wood. I can't. I need time.
I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are the best. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Should we start the pod now?
Yeah, let's go.
Deuce and Mo. We're coming down in 3, 2. You know what? One thing before we start.
Yeah.
I need to start getting into the mindset of like, look, it is what it is. All right. You just have to talk about it.
That's what
I'm trying to get back into the mind frame of this is like a 9-game losing skid again. I hate going there. That's my approach.
Your approach is so, and I'm just going to tell you the reason why your approach is a little dramatic. And even though it is I can tell it's like coming from your heart. I get it, bud. I get it. But what I'm going to say is it's only because your expectations were up here. And no, hold on. And it's okay. That's good to have those expectations and those standards of what you want to see. But you have to understand, Deuce, this is not a 9-game losing skid. This is not that shitty basketball that we were watching. So really take a step back and realize the basketball, the style, everything is so much better than it was. And I know it's triggering. It's like PTSD. But guess what? It's not there yet, and it's not going to get there.
Me.
I'm not. So just like know that it's not going to get there. So like don't worry about it.
The last time the Kings were 0-4 was the night my grandma died.
Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? Really?
Or sorry, when they lost 4 games in a row. Last time they lost 4. Let me restart. Can you hit the button to restart that over there? Hit it right there. Thank you. The last time the Kings lost 4 in a row was the night my grandma died. Hey, I'm Deuce Mason. It was the start of the season. The Kings went on and won 48 games after that. Now you want to start the show? Huh?
Yep.
Huh?
Proceed.
Deuce and Mo. We're coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast, recording this on a Thursday night. On the heels of a road trip that was so painful for the Kings, a couple of bad losses at the end when they were up against the Bucks. Up 4 with 18 to play, Dame with the dagger to win it. Then a great response in Phoenix until about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter when the Suns rallied back from 22 down to beat the Kings in heartbreaking fashion. But the Kings are back at home tonight to take on an Indiana Pacers team that just made a trade, a bit shorthanded after the trade and no Tyrese Haliburton, but they had different problems tonight. TJ McConnell, Benedict Mathurin, and the Sacramento Kings fall on the home floor to the shorthanded Indiana Pacers tonight at Golden One Center, 126-121. And all of a sudden, the Kings have dropped 4 in a row, their first 4-game losing skid since the start of last season when they started the season 0-4. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Each and every one of our podcasts presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. Check out trustnorthwest.com. Morgan Reagan?
I'm fine.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
You're fine, huh?
I'm fine.
Tell me why you're fine.
I
I understand you handle these things a little better than me. You're the person that tries to be even keel. I'm the emotional one. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. When things are going well, I'm fired up. I'm juiced. But things are going a little sour.
I'll say
feel
this.
it.
Back in my playing days, I did
Yep.
not take losses well for myself. I mean, I honestly probably should have gotten professional help, but mental health back then was just like not a thing. But I did not take losses.
So you're handling it better now.
I have a personal connection to it, but I also can take a step back and I've matured the way that I've looked
You calling me immature?
No.
You calling
I've
me
matured
immature?
the way that I can look at a basketball game. And when I say that, I still have had my immature moments, but I can take a step back, be a little bit more mature about it when I go, okay, big picture, big picture. Now, I'm not scared right now after this loss at all, but it just hurts. You know, it just doesn't feel good, especially when you had a good game against the Bucks and you lose it in just heartbreaking fashion. You had a good 3.5 quarters against the Suns, a good 3.5 quarters, and then you lose it in an awful fashion. And then you just have a shit game tonight against the shorthanded Pacers at home. That's where I go, ew, that's gross. Barf, not fun.
And we've officially reached the halfway point of the season, Morgan. They are 23-18, halfway through this NBA season. And you go, well, hey, that's not too bad. Last year at that time, we would have celebrated the fact that they were 23-18, but man, does it feel completely different this year, Morgan.
It does. It does. And I think one of the biggest reasons, all of our expectations, right? Our expectations of what we believe inside our souls that this team, this organization could do after such a fun, successful year. But that's why we always say, like, live in the moment, get excited when things are good, because you just don't know how long it's going to last. And it's not just,
Can we get to last more than a year? Can we have fun for more than a year?
But that's the thing. You're acting like it's not. I mean, record-wise alone, this is the best record the Kings have through 40 games since the
04-05 season. That was before tonight, but they dropped this one. It's 41 games in. So the Kings lose 126-121. Where did this go wrong? Why did it happen this way? Again, we talk about approach. Defensively, what a mess.
Bad.
After, again, you talk about the Suns game where I thought the Kings played some really strong defense.
Yep.
And they had to deal with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and KD. Grayson Allen hurt him. But that was part of, like, the thing that they were doing early in that game was, hey, we're not going to let the big three crush us. We'll try to make someone else do it. They had their problems late in the game, but you saw the signs. Tonight, I saw a Pacers team that was just coming out, playing physical and with an absolute edge. But before we get to those guys, TJ McConnell set the tone tonight. And I don't know if, like, they don't take TJ McConnell serious because he's this little guy that looks, I saw him come on the court today. I was like, he looks like an assistant coach before the game. I'm like, look at Morgan. He looks like an assistant coach out there.
Yeah, you were talking shit like early on. He was like hearing it from across the way.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. My whole point to it is looks can be deceiving, and this guy can play basketball. He provides so much energy for that team. But tonight, TJ McConnell dominated the Kings. The Kings in that first quarter allowed so many points in the paint, and in large part, it was TJ McConnell and the Kings' inability to defend TJ McConnell. Pick and roll, it was easy. He'd get a little bit of a switch, turn the corner, no help whatsoever, bucket. It was insane. Like, what?
TJ McConnell, 20 points without any 3-point attempts. Any. And you had a stat of the night nominee with just what TJ McConnell has been doing from beyond the arc.
He's made 1 3-pointer this year. TJ McConnell's 1 for 16. At times tonight, the way they were defending him was just weird.
It was.
One, you can go under screens on TJ McConnell. He's not looking to shoot it. But what TJ can do is he has a little bit of an ability to break you down and get to the rim. But why are you up on him? Like, you are up in him like it's Steph Curry out there. You can't defend him like that. And then in pick and roll situations, you're giving him the ability to just turn the corner baseline and go up and under, no help whatsoever. And this was multiple guys not helping. We did a breakdown on TV with it. Once it was Kevin Huerter, not helping. Once it was Sasha, not helping. Once it was Keegan, not helping. the help's got to be there, but also just it's TJ McConnell we're talking about. Even if you like him as a player, even if you think he's a good reserve, this is not a guy that should be changing your game plan on a night like this when you're at full strength. And then in the second half, they decide to start blitzing him. And they've done that this year, like blitzing Devin Booker, blitzing Steph Curry, blitzing Kevin Durant. Like, yes, those names I just mentioned are some great players. You don't blitz TJ McConnell. He can get the ball out and he's quick with it. And the Kings' inability to just defend TJ McConnell one-on-one, how they defended him, blitzing him, allowing him to get to the rim, I'm just stunned by it. The guy's not looking to take jump shots, but he will if he gets in the paint, has a little step back, fade away. He'll hit that. He'll do the little reverse. It was insane to me.
He finished with 10 assists as well, right? And you look at him.
He doesn't shoot.
And he doesn't shoot the ball. So you look at, you look at that threat from right there, not being a threat. So you take that part away from his game. Mike Bibby was like, those were the type of guys that they put me on. A guy that can't shoot the ball, but like, I got to make sure to stay with him. Like because that was Mike's way of saying like, I wasn't the best defender and that's the guy that I have to stay on. You had some of the best defenders out there on TJ and he was just crossing people up, making it look easy. Probably because everyone was coming way too far on him. Just arm's length. He ain't gonna shoot shit over you. It was the adjustment never being made was confusing. I love the idea of the pressure being there and getting up and guys, but it's also understanding your personnel. And this is a guy that was creating because people were getting too far up in his grill, right? And that's why he was able to still drop those dimes and have 10 assists because even if the help was coming up on him finally, it was just like lob, here's this, corner three for Obi Toppin, whatever it wanted to be.
He knew where the open guy was. And so, like, on one specific play, I think it was Fox and then Sasha coming with the hard blitz. McConnell immediately gets it to the guy that's uncovered. The help comes, and someone else is coming from the corner, a Pacers player coming from the corner, baseline, easy jam. And the Pacers were not panicked at all. They just played basketball. If this is how you're going to defend, this is how we're going to adjust to it. And I don't understand that game plan. Oh, that to me is a game plan thing at that point. The adjustment at halftime was, hey, let's start blitzing him in some of these situations. I get you want to mix up different looks on guys and maybe you rattle them. But this, again, is TJ McConnell we're talking about here. And the Pacers have a lot of young guys who are athletes who started getting some open looks tonight, and they started knocking them down, and all of a sudden those guys' confidence sky high tonight. So I can't believe we are leading a night chat halfway through the NBA season talking about the Sacramento Kings' inability to defend TJ McConnell and his ability just to get into the paint, whether it's scoring in the paint or kicking out and spraying for three. That is one of the most disappointing things I think I have said this year. The Kings' inability to shut down and slow down TJ McConnell is one of the reasons they lost a home game. Unbelievable.
And obviously big picture or of this big focus of this game on TJ McConnell, but you look down the list and them having 33 assists on the night as well. And I saw someone mention this, like Buddy Hield had 8 assists tonight. And that alone, like this is a guy that could barely put the ball on the floor back in the day. And so
he's improved that part of his game.
And he has. And that was something that we saw him improve even toward the end of his time in Sacramento. And you're seeing it better and better, but he's still someone, if you put enough pressure on him, take away his vision, you're gonna scare him a little. You're gonna mess up his game a little bit more. And I just felt like those game plans regarding personnel was just not there with anyone.
And with Hield, I also thought they did it a little bit early in the game. They didn't attack him enough and put him in action defensively.
Yes.
They did early a little bit. I think Kevin got going a bit and then Keegan too, but they didn't go back to that enough to me. But tonight, I can't even talk. It's not even about the offense tonight, really. To me, it's more about defensively. And I thought whether it was TJ McConnell, But the fact that this Pacers team was without their engine tonight, right? Tyrese Haliburton is their engine. He makes everything go. Mm-hmm. It was hard to even look at some of their numbers coming into this game because you're like, yeah, they're number one offensive rating this year in the NBA, which is, by the way, the best of all time in NBA history. They play with pace. A lot of assists. They lead the NBA in points in the paint. But going into it, I'm going, I don't even know if this is worth referencing because they're without this key guy. The fact is, they played with the same identity tonight, which if I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm just beyond thrilled that my guys, including young players, were able to play with that type of focus in a road game shorthanded. So for Sacramento, I just feel like we've used the word lackadaisical too many times this year. And Mike Brown used it last game. We've used it on post games. I feel like that's been their approach. And you see how this game ended tonight where the Kings were down, 16 with a few minutes to go. And they ended up making it a game with what? Pressure, defense, focus, attacking. And I'm like, look, I know you're not going to do a full court press the entire game and force these types of mistakes. But my point is that type of intensity.
Being locked in. Yeah. Being locked in.
Why are you waiting until you're down 16 with 3 minutes of play when the game was out of reach? Everyone in the building thought it was done.
Yes, there are so many people leaving. And then even when that run started going, you saw a few people turn around. And then as soon as they felt like, okay, this is for sure done, they were gone. And you're exactly right. I would be even more irritated if we were talking every single game and it's like, the Kings do this every single game. They put the pressure on only at the end when they're already down, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. Great. It's this game, though, you played like shit for more quarters than not. And you decided in the last couple of minutes to come out with that pressure. Going into the fourth, I know I'm not going to put you on the spot. I was curious what that score was. If that was the run, did they go on a run right before the fourth, or was it?
Well, they kept going on these little mini runs, and the Pacers literally answered, it seemed like, every single time. But going into the fourth quarter, it was, let me zoom in on my notes that are way too small. It was 98-89.
Okay.
But what was crazy, the Kings cut it to 2 at 79-77.
That's it.
At the 6:32 mark. Just a couple of minutes later, it was a 10-point game.
That's
again.
it. And that's it. So even that run that they went on going into the fourth, I go, okay, you have a lot of work to do in this fourth quarter. What are you going to do? The pressure that they put on those last couple of minutes, why couldn't we have seen that type of engagement from the start of the fourth? It's easier said than done. I'm not going to sit here and act like you just got to have that energy throughout the game. It's easy. No, it's hard.
I have no idea what you just... What'd you say? I'm just curious what you said.
Just rewind the tape and you'll see. Okay? Because I don't even remember what I said.
It's kind of funny. You're talking about the same type of energy. You're like, oh, it was just a funny thing. I wasn't meaning to spend much time on it. You could have just repeated it.
Well, you know what's funny? I honestly forgot what I said.
Oh, is it the concussion coming back?
Shut up.
Concussion-like symptoms for
and
Morgan.
That's why I was like, rewind the tape because I forgot. No, but seriously, I just think about the way that they came out in the fourth and how they didn't play with that same energy that they had in those last couple minutes of the fourth. That was how they needed to play like they were down 10 or whatever they were, and that's what they were at the start of the fourth.
And then it felt like in the second half when they did start to get more stops, and they did get more stops in the second half for sure, it just turnover started killing them. I mean, they had a ton that felt like they were impactful. They end up the game with, God, it just felt like so much more. I'm like, is this right? Is this box score even right? 11 turnovers, but it just felt like they felt like so bad when they happened. They were just so not timely.
Yeah.
Not that any turnover is good. I don't know what I'm trying to say. My point is, it felt like they had 20 turnovers.
And they were the worst turnovers. That's what you're trying to say. They were the worst.
Let's also just talk about this. And I know it's something we've mentioned many times, but come on. The free throw shooting.
Oh,
they're last in the NBA in free throw shooting. And most of it this year has been Fox and Sabonis. Those guys get to the line more than anybody on the team. And Fox's free throw shooting is down. I think coming in tonight, it was around 72%. Well, last year was 78%, which was, I believe, a career high for him. Sabonis was 73, 74% last year. Well, he's in the 60s now. Tonight, Sacramento shot 32 free throws. 32. They made 18. 5 of 8 for Sabonis. 5 of 9 for De'Aaron Fox. The one that's shocking is the guy who missed some key ones in Milwaukee, who's one of their best free throw shooters, Malik Monk. 1 of 6 at the free throw line tonight.
That's weird.
1 of 6.
That is weird.
So Sacramento missed 14 free throws tonight. You look at the game. You lost by 5 points. You missed 14 free throws. We're not even talking about perfection.
And it's when they're missing their free throw. Like, you talk about the turnovers being bad and not timely. Like, I even feel that way with the missed free throws. It always, and especially lately with someone as clutch when it comes to their free throws as Malik Monk.
Yeah.
And he's starting to miss some big ones. I'm not worried about it, but I'm also like it's been consistently like that the last couple of games. Like, is something going on here?
Yeah, I'm less worried about someone like Malik Monk, right? You have a couple of games where you miss free throws, but
you're talking De'Aaron
it's
and
Fox and Sabonis. It's like I don't think there's anything more infuriating for fans than seeing missed free throws, right? Because seems pretty simple. You're at a free throw line. No one's defending you. You will hit step back threes in someone's face, but you step to the line and you miss them. There has to be something you have to tweak mentally if that is happening. Even if you're not going to be a 90% guy, an 80% guy, you cannot be 56% from the free throw line in this game. And that's backbreaking because it's deflating. It deflates the crowd. You heard it tonight. You heard some boos tonight on the missed free throws.
Know.
The crowd's feeling it right now at Golden One Center.
And I get it. I get it. It's like you said, there's nothing worse than a missed free throw to an NBA fan. And I feel like this is probably one of the most encouraging fan bases that you will find around the NBA. You know, everyone always talks about the East Coast fan bases, Philly, Boston, like wherever. And it's just like shitty people that are just cheering bad things. And here it's like, hey, you do the little things and you're even losing, people will get up and get wild. But when you start screwing up the little things in a closer game,
it cost you the game.
It did. Ultimately, it did, because it's not just missing the free throws, Deuce, and those points not going to the board. You think about how deflating that is for a team. And when you're trying to get a stop and go, and you're getting the stop, but you're not converting a 2. You're not even converting any points at some of these free throws.
And you're letting them off the hook.
Yep. Yeah, that was in you know, we talked about it a little bit in the post game. It was like post game was just jam packed with a whole bunch of shit. So we finally got to free throws at the end. And Mike, when you asked him about like what do you think's going on with
Mike, baby,
Mike, Mike, Mr. Bibby, you asked him about approach for players. Like, what do you think's going on? He's like, when I coached my high school guys, it was all about not allowing them to even talk when we're shooting free throws, because I want them purely focused on what's at hand, because free throws have so much to do with focus. And I agree with that. It's like golf. It's, you know, you want to make sure your body's straight, all these things. Sometimes it becomes the most difficult shot. Yeah. That's why you see some guys in their free throw routine, it's really fast, because they just like, it keeps them in
Fox,
rhythm.
He's too fast.
Well,
start taking the time like Giannis, man. I don't care how long it just, you have to tweak something.
You got to do what works for you, but yes.
And I understand, you know, people go, well, they got to practice this stuff. Look,
they're practicing.
They are practicing it. And I think they're making them at times. We've seen them miss too. We've been at practices where, God, you know, when Mike Brown's having guys miss, you know, make 2 in a row or they run. We saw during training camp, there was a lot of running. And this was a problem last year too. Like, it just wasn't as bad. It wasn't as glaring as it is this year.
Yeah.
Because the Kings were scoring a ton of points. They're winning games. They're playing fast. But, man, you just feel it on nights like this, especially when it's guys like Fox and Sabonis missing them.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And I think that is something like going forward that you have to see 2 of your best guys and 2 of the guys that get to the free throw line the most on this team. They have to start knocking those down. It's like you said, Malik, he'll figure it the heck out. And with the other guys, it's get something going. Change your routine. I'm telling you, like, there's so many resources in this league where you could go to a free throw specialist and you could figure out one thing that might just work for you.
The Kings, Morgan, are now 6-8 in their last 14 games.
Gross.
6-8. And you want to think about some of those losses during that stretch?
No.
Well, I'm going to make you think about it. Oh, my goodness. So lost 4 in a row.
Don't do this.
Wow. So you had the Boston game. That was awful. You bounced back. You beat the Suns. You lost to Minnesota. Wasn't really close, right? You lost on the road to Portland. Bad game. You beat Atlanta. You beat Memphis. You lose at home to Charlotte. You scrap out a win against a short-handed Orlando team in 2 overtimes. You beat the Raptors. Lose by 33 to the Pelicans. And, of course, you beat the Pistons after a really slow start where you give up a season high in the first quarter, but you rally back and you close things out. You beat the Hornets, and now you've lost the 4 straight. This is rough right now. It's rough. And, like, tonight, I know we talked a lot about TJ McConnell. I also thought, like, I was a big fan of Benedict Mathurin before the draft because he just plays with
He's a dog in him.
This Pacers team has a lot of dogs. And I don't know if you guys noticed this. If you listened to the podcast last year, how many times we're like, who's your dog of the game? We haven't done that this year because the Kings don't seem to have that dog in them this year. I'm not seeing it from guys on this team this year where I'm watching tonight. I'm going, Benedict Mathurin playing like a dog. TJ McConnell's diving on the floor for loose balls, attacking relentlessly, hounding guys, playing like a dog. Ben Shepherd fouling hard. He's a rookie, playing his ass off, getting an opportunity, playing like a dog. Jarris Walker, who's barely played this year, right? There was some talk, could he be involved in the trade? Maybe they should move him if they're not playing him. He's been playing a lot in the G League for Fort Wayne. He comes in tonight, plays his ass off, doesn't play intimidated, hit big shots at key moments when the Kings are making a run. Jarris Walker with 15 points. Benedict Mathurin, 25 points, 11 of 21 shooting, made some big plays defensively, 2 big blocks. Then you had Jalen Smith, 17 points, 13 rebounds, 6 of 7 shooting in this game.
You know, Deuce and I have talked a lot about this season with our night chats. We felt like there were a few losses there early on. Where we were talking about the other team and giving them the love that they just, I mean, they absolutely deserved it. When I look at this Pacers team tonight, I go, sure, they did. I mean, TJ McConnell carried them, their energy and everything. Guys were knocking down some shots. Like, it was good. But, like, this is one of those games where I go, the Kings lost it. You know, the Kings playing the way that they played throughout even take away the free throws. The way that the Kings did not execute defensively, they lost it.
And this is what I think infuriates me about them this year. The approach that they had after the Milwaukee loss in Phoenix, they came out engaged, flying everywhere, making shots, sure, but I'm just talking about how they played. The Phoenix Suns would go on a little bit of a run. The Kings would smack them back down. It's back down to 20, and then they collapsed. Tonight, and this is what's missing on this team. It's coming out the right way. I don't care who's in front of me. I don't care if it's TJ McConnell, Devin Booker, name a great player. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the opponent tonight. And that's got to be the mindset going forward for this. I don't care. We play the Hawks. Cool. I'm going to know the scout. I'm going to understand who I'm going up against, but my mentality is not going to change. Great example. Of course, we always use examples involving ourselves.
Oh, we
do broadcast work for the Stockton Kings. I do play-by-play. She's a color analyst. I'm more than aware that very few people are watching our NBA G League games. I'm very aware. There's not, I don't even know what the number would be, but it's very small. It's not like 1 million people are watching NBA G League basketball. Nope. There's not 100,000. There's not 10,000. It's not a lot of people. My approach doesn't change. I am calling a Stockton Kings game against whoever the opponent is, whether they're 1-20 or 20-1, with one person watching, two people in the stands. I am calling that game just like I would call a Sacramento Kings game if I got that chance. It's not going to change. And
your prep for the game does not change if it's on a Monday night where you don't even know if the game's going to be on anything platform or if it's on a Friday night where it's going to be on K-Max and it's going to be on TV.
It doesn't matter.
Nope.
I am coming out because you know what I want to do? I want to win. And even if I don't have the best of night, I'm going to come out prepared and I'm going to bust my ass out there. The Kings come out too often. I'm not saying everybody, but you see it enough. Lackadaisical. I don't know what's going on with De'Aaron Fox right now.
Yep.
De'Aaron Fox, the guy who was guarding tonight was TJ McConnell. Now there were switches, whatever. Their game plan was not good against him. He doesn't look right to me. He was grabbing his shoulder at one point. We seen him grabbing his hip. I think he might be banged up. My thing I've always said about these situations, I admire that athletes want to play through things. I admire that they want to keep pushing along. But if you're nicked up, this is a long season. Take a game. Take a game or two. I'm glad the Kings have some time off, but if you're not right, get right.
Easier said than done.
We need you to come out and play with a focus. It doesn't matter who you're going up against.
I get it. And it's easier said than done because you want to talk about even playing like nicked up, going back to talking about ourselves really quick. Yesterday, it was the day after I got a concussion, right? I couldn't even do the game on NBC Sports California the night before against the Suns. But last night I did the G League game and I was calling the game. But here's the thing. I remember coming out in the first quarter and I turned to you first time out and I go, is my energy there?
Yeah.
Is my energy there? And you're like, you're fine. Like just some asshole thing.
Yeah.
You're fine. And really it was my way of being like, my approach to it was like, if I'm not good, then why am I here? So I made sure to make an adjustment to just try and bring my energy to a different level. My point is like you have teammates around you to make these adjustments. And if you are not good enough to go in because you are nicked up, there are guys that can bring a different level of energy that are full on healthy.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. And because I just watching him, I'm like, he's just not moving the same right now. And
I get it.
He's still getting his numbers and he's still knocking down shots, but I think we all can see it. And he did this last year. Like he did this last year where he got nicked up and he tried to fight through it and he got through it. And so, hey, maybe he'll get through this and it's fine.
And by the way, people would also be giving him shit like, well, why can't he get through this injury? And it's like, you got to do what's best for you, your body, your mindset. Because I know for competitors, they want to keep fighting through it. But you got to make sure you're doing what's right for you and your team too.
It's approach to me. You got to come out with the right mindset. Tonight needed to be, it didn't matter if it was the Suns again, the Celtics, the Pacers, or the Pistons. I don't even care about the schedule. It needed. We're at home, and we just got embarrassed the last game where we lost a big lead late. We got to come out with an edge and be ready to go. I'm not trying to discredit the Indiana Pacers, but the Indiana Pacers approach was we're playing fast, we're playing physical, we're in attack mode. I didn't sense that from the Kings enough tonight. It felt like they were on their heels. They'd make a run, get back in the game, and then there'd be a mistake, missed free throw, turnover, and then boom, they would get blitzed by Jarris Walker knocking down a three, Benedict Mathurin making a hell of a block or something. Also, we will talk about some of the good of tonight. There's definitely some good bright spots.
Career highs, triple doubles.
Kevin Huerter, Keegan Murray, I thought had some great moments tonight. But
absolutely.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing. And this Pacers team is playing some good basketball. They have a better record than the Kings now. But this is not one you just go, hey, you know what happens in the NBA? No, we have filled the bucket of these games happen in the NBA season. Now, maybe it's also on us to start adjusting expectations. And we go, you know what? As this team is currently constructed, this is more of a 500 team. Because this is how they're playing right now. And we're not seeing the consistency this year. We really haven't seen like a huge stretch of games where like, this is Kings basketball. The best parts, I think, recently have been the previous two games in Milwaukee and then in Phoenix, but they lost both of those games.
Yeah, but no, the end result was bad, but the basketball that was being played for most of those both of most of those games was like dead on how you want to see this Kings team play and competitive basketball. I remember after that Bucks game too, I was with Matt Barnes and I was like, hey, I know it was a loss, but I'll take a competitive loss.
Yep.
Wow, we haven't seen one of those in a while. And then the Suns game happens, and it's like, oh, wait. Then more mistakes happening at the end of a game.
Let's get to some super chats. Appreciate you guys for being here. Also, the chat is popping tonight. Thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Super dope hip hop says TJ McConnell low key this year per 36, 17, 12, and 2 steals. Yeah, he's a solid role player for sure. Leandro donates $10. What?
Thank you. Thanks.
Saying halfway through the season, what are we putting on the Kings vision board to finish the season strong? Time to manifest.
Ooh.
P.S. Welcome back, Red Velvet. Great postgame, Deuce and Mo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know. Does Morgan feel like she needs to manifest? Maybe this weekend with the time off, you just go, you know what? I'm going to put together a little vision board because the last time you did, it meant good things.
I might do a vision board, but I might do it very Real Housewives and Bravo heavy.
Okay.
And we will really make sure to tie in the both NBA and Housewives worlds.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Oleg donates $2 saying positive. Kevin Huerter had a great offensive game. That was a big positive. We'll talk more about Kevin Huerter. Hustleman donates $5. Sad loss, not as sad as the last two, but I still have faith and got the dab 50 cents, which was kind of nice.
That's cool.
Kind of cool.
That is cool.
Geeky Nana donates $5. Said at least no one got concussed today. That's a huge win there. Also, thank you to Angelo for becoming a member. 16 months for him. Buddy had 8 assists. What is happening?
That's what I saw.
And Jay in the chat says, Monk has too much love for Sack. He's more disappointed than anyone else tonight. We can't break his confidence like we did the Kev. Just my thoughts. Donating as well. I don't think the fans broke anybody's confidence.
No, but you know what? I appreciate those comments like that because I think all you're doing is humanizing these players and being like, hey, like, let's make sure to not, because look, you are going to see hate in there. You're going to see the trade everybody. Everyone needs to be fired kind of bullshit out there. And I think it's just smart if you're here to be rational with your thoughts and to also understand, like, sometimes these people are humans, just like Malik Monk. I go, he's going to make his free throws again late in games.
Oh, yeah,
he's not going to miss all those.
Malik Monk is not on my list of people I'm mad at tonight. I'm sorry.
It's not on your list.
No. I mean, he's made free throws all year.
Right.
Fox and Sabonis haven't. I mean, we had Fox on the podcast, and I asked her to say, I said, what's the most annoying part about his game? And she said the free throws.
She said free throws.
Exactly.
She was not happy with it. And it's like, I get it.
Man.
It's not easy.
We need to hear some Mike Brown in a little bit. Can we mention before we move on that we're presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors? They sponsor the beam. The beam behind us hasn't been lit in a minute.
No. So we haven't been able to really talk about them with the beam, but we can talk about what they've done to this podcast room. And they've added noise canceling windows to just this room and then to the entire house. You just are saving so much money on this energy bill because when it's freezing outside, it just traps in the heat. Or like we've mentioned before, Carlin seems to be pooping a lot more because he can't hold it in because he's paralyzed. And so it really traps in the bad smell.
Yes.
But that's when you know the windows are working.
Then you open up the windows. Yes.
And it lets it out.
And in the summertime, you can stay cool. So yeah, you save money. It looks good. And plus, Northwest Exteriors, they don't have subcontractors in Southern California. They are local people who have been there. The average is 16 years. It's a great company. You should use them if you're looking for new windows or siding. Go to their website, northwestexteriors.com, Morgan, because they're simply the best. Trust Northwest.
I heard you do that the other night when I wasn't on the podcast. And it's really funny listening from that angle. You're really good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I know.
We'll get some more of your comments coming up too. And we'll also sprinkle in possibly some Discord calls. But before we do that, can we hear Mike Brown? Because I didn't hear Mike Brown post game. I wanted to know what Mike Brown had to say after this Kings loss to the Pacers.
Play well at all. I do applaud our guys' fight. The last, 4 minutes or whatever it was, 3 minutes in the game, they could have easily folded and packed it in, but they scrambled, they fought, and they gave ourselves a chance to possibly send the game into overtime by making a 15 or 17-point game into a one-possession game. So I applaud our guys for that. Other than that, there wasn't much good in the first half. Obviously, we couldn't do anything with TJ. TJ blew by us, play after play after play for a layup in the first half, or assist, but mainly he scored in the first half. He ended the game with 20 and 10, so you on 9 for 14 from the field. So you give a guy like that a lot of credit for coming in here and giving them belief to start the game, because that's what he did. Also, the young fella, Jalen Smith, he just rim ran whenever we had a mismatch, and he sat down in the paint, and we did not do a good job of fighting him at all. They threw it directly to him, and he either scored it or he got fouled, but he was 6 for 7 from the floor. 5 of those were rim runs, just sitting down and bullying whoever was guarding him. And then he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line with 13 rebounds. He had a very, very good, productive night for those guys. And then the last person is Walker. Walker came off the bench, and he played a great game. I mean, they outscored our bench 34 to 16. And, it was great production that they got from top to bottom with whoever Rick threw out on the floor. So tough night for our bench, especially versus their bench. Defensively, like I said, in the first half, just watching TJ blow by us possession after possession after possession was tough. Our low man, in terms of X's and O's defensively, I thought we took a couple of steps backwards, because when somebody does dribble drive to the rim, we usually do a pretty good job, or we have been doing a pretty good job of coming across and trapping the box and taking care of it. But there were too many occasions where that guy on the bottom weak side didn't even move. So it was tough watching.
Just a note, we referenced at the beginning. The help. Kevin Huerter did it. Sasha did it. Keegan did it. Just not even paying attention. You're the last line of defense. You got to come over and help in that situation.
And it was from multiple guys. It wasn't just one guy or two guys. We had multiple guys. And then in the second half, too, TJ, he didn't penetrate like he did in the first half, but he just back cut us time after time after time because we were ball watching. And then we had to react to him when he back cut us, and now we're in scramble mode again, and they got good looks. So our defense was non-existent until we started scrambling and fighting at the end. And they score 126 points on 55% from the field. That's not good. And then the final thing that I would say is obvious. It's obvious. It's our free throw shooting. I mean, this 2 games, and the only reason why I say 2 is I can't remember what we shot in Milwaukee, but from the free throw line. But it's 2 games in a row. We shoot 50% from the field, from the free throw line. And I'm not sure what it is. Today we shot more free throws in shoot around than we ever have in a shoot around since I've been here. Yeah. And yesterday we shot more free throws in a practice than we ever have since I've been here. We've upped the number, and we've put even to a point to where if they don't get X amount in a row, there's a time limit. They just got to sit there and shoot 2 at a time and rotate. So hopefully sooner than later, each man will figure that out amongst himself while we continue as a team to shoot a lot of free throws. But each man will look in the mirror and kind of lock in and try to figure out what he can do to be better at the free throw line, because having 2 games in the 50s, and the 2 games are basically one possession games. even though there were times you didn't play well in both those games, which is going to happen. It's tough to swallow.
Wow.
Yep.
How, seeing your team with adversity, see how they kind of respond, even as early as today. And maybe that was it there, but I'm just curious if some of the traits that you've seen throughout your time here with Sacramento, is this stretch of adversity, is there anything that you can point to that might be, I don't know, surprising, or just something that maybe is different from maybe previous adversities?
Well, I tell you, we've had good stretches defensively, which makes me feel like we're about to break out, because you're not going to always shoot the ball well. And it makes me feel like we got it. I mean, our execution defensively, again, was at a really high level versus Phoenix. I was disappointed in a lot of things with that game down the stretch, but, man, I walked away from that saying, well, okay, if we can get this type of effort and focus and commitment on that end of the floor, we're going to give ourselves a chance, because we have been playing well offensively. And I always felt that whether our offense was here or it wasn't good, I always feel like that's going to come back. So, the defensive end of the floor, the inconsistencies, that has been, for me, pretty alarming. And the free throws, the free throws, not just tonight, not just in the last game, but the reality of it is all season, we're 30th in the NBA from the free throw line. And I feel like we have good shooters. I really do. And I'm just, it baffles me a little bit that we shoot the way we shoot from the field and from the three, but then we shoot the way we shoot from the free throw line. So I think probably those two things, probably with the free throw, our free throw percentage being the most alarming, and then second is the inconsistencies that we're getting on the defense end of the floor. Because like I said, 55% on and 126 points. That's not good.
Mike, when you look at Kevin tonight, career high 31 points, maybe that's the only bright spot you can see on this for the game tonight. Just how nice is it to kind of see him get?
All right, we'll skip that. I could skip ahead. I mean, it's great that Kevin did well, and we'll talk about that. But I just wanted more on what was happening today.
Am I right?
Is that?
No, I think it's fine.
I mean, we're 3 questions in, and we're going, hey, let's talk more about what happened. It's kind of my point.
Yeah.
That's Deuce Mason's
I mean, hi, we're an hour
critique.
in our podcast and we still haven't gotten to the triple-double and Kevin Huerter's career high.
Yeah.
But I'm with you.
Okay, I see some passion here. Let's hear this one.
What does each individual player, going back to the time of the championship teams and high-quality teams that you've been on, what does each individual player have to do themselves to work through this adversity and these stretches of the season that are going to happen?
Well, the first thing is, a loss like this, it should sting, and you should let it bother you. But having said that, because of the amount of games that you have to play through the course of the season, you got to figure out, okay, I let it sting for a few hours or whatever it is. Now I got to figure out how I can get better. What did I do wrong tonight? What have I been doing wrong overall? Not only that, what have we as a team been doing that's not good enough to help us win games right now? Or what can we do better as a team to help us win games right now? And so your outlook has to go from, okay, I'm taking the hit, I'm feeling it, now it's time to fight. And it's time to fight while getting better. It's time to fight in practice in terms of locking in, because we're not going to have any contact at this point in the year except for our low-minute guys. And then it's definitely time to fight come game time. I know that we can be a better defensive team than what we are, so it has to start there, because at the end of the day, like I said, we're going to figure out a way to score. We just got to figure out a way to slow some of these teams down.
All right, that's a portion of Mike Brown. If you want to watch the full thing, you can look it up on YouTube. There's like another 10 minutes, and I know people don't just listen to our podcast to hear post-game pressers, but wanted to hear a portion of it, especially after tonight. And, Mike Brown obviously echoed a lot of the stuff that we had said early in the podcast, but a couple of key words that I wrote down immediately was the fight that the Pacers had and how Jalen Smith bullied them. I hear fight, I hear bully. I don't really hear that when we describe the Sacramento Kings, and that's disappointing to me. I just don't see that in them, and you go up and down. I mean, there's moments, I think Sabonis plays hard. We talked about how hard he plays. I thought Keegan showed a little fight tonight. I thought he did some nice things defensively, had some nice plays inside, got to the line, which is not something we always see from Keegan Murray. It's very rare, so that was good to see. But I'm looking like...
I think Malik Monk is probably one of the other ones that will bring that energy, even if it doesn't always translate. But, it's
but you know what I'm saying? And the Pacers have a lot of young athletes, too. And that popped to me, too, where I'm like, God, man, I'm looking at there. I'm like, Walker's pretty athletic. Doppin's pretty athletic. They've got a lot of young guys out there. They're moving well. They're very bouncy. And they were trying to prove something tonight, especially with guys who don't get to play all the time. But someone like Harrison Barnes, I'm like, man. It's 22 minutes?
Yeah.
He only played 22 minutes tonight, 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 of 2 shooting, and didn't play a lot down the stretch.
I mean, and you do also see someone that, I think that you personally could depend on more for, fight and energy and maybe some consistency would be Trey Lyles, and he played 19 minutes and didn't really,
No, Trey wasn't great tonight, but Trey has been good this year.
He has.
Right?
Where Harrison has had his games that he's on and then he's off.
And
off.
Way too often. And he's a starter who makes $18 million a year. You just need more from him, right? You need what's he providing, and so that's where it hurts you. It's like you have a starter who doesn't give you much. And if he's not able to get it going, guys struggle. I get that. But give me something. Is there emotion out there? Is there holding guys accountable? Is there talking? What are you doing to impact the game? I still maintain, I wish Fox would do it a little more, just a little more talking out there. And
yeah, you want to make sure you're playing your game, though, too. And I say this because I think Fox is capable of talking. And I think when there was that time when a lot of people were talking about De'Aaron Fox going into the paint and going into shots and never complaining when he would get fouled. And he would get fouled way too much. And it was always those fouls were saved for the stars or even the up-and-coming stars, but never for De'Aaron, it seemed like. Finally, when he started talking shit back, it started working a little. And then when he started going into the paint, not trying to draw the contact, but he was looking to make the shot first, was when his entire game changed. And I just think when you look at this situation, I go, how can you find a way to talk more or do something with that without changing your entire game, right? Because I think you don't want it to take you away from your identity as a player, but it is something maybe you can reflect on and add and or contribute to as a teammate.
Morgan, when I got back before the podcast after the Suns game, I felt it.
I know.
I was out there playing.
I know.
And when Mike Brown says he wants something like this to sit with him a little bit, it's yes.
It will sit. They got till Monday. They keep getting these opportunities where it's all right, well, at least they have another game tonight. At least they have a back-to-back game, so you get to respond pretty quick. And it's with this, it's it gets to hurt a little bit more. And I also look at this whole situation and what Mike Brown had to say about the free throws and them shooting the most free throws that they've ever shot.
That was crazy.
That shit happens. I think it's so funny, too. Sometimes we see guys shooting before games, and it's wow, they didn't miss. And then they get into the game, and they're, missing everything. It happens. That shit just happens. But there is no for sure explanation on why they're missing free throws. It's not that they're not practicing. It's not that you can sit and point and be like, they're not engaged. I think we can speculate and be like, do they need to change their free throw routine as an individual, right? Like we look at De'Aaron, his routine's really quick. Is there something more you need to see from Domas? But besides that, it's on them to really just try and figure that out, because even as a coach, you can't figure that out.
I do want to go back to the whole fighting thing, because that's the other thing, is what happened late in the fourth quarter when they're down by 16. Why does that happen then? Was it because there was some excitement where it's like, we forced a turnover scored, we forced another, is that why? Like, they saw little success, so it's like, and the time it's ticking, let's go. Like, why isn't that urgency there earlier in the game?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. I mean, again,
the mentality's got to shift. Like,
yes,
the approach has to shift. You got to, it's like we said earlier, I don't care who you're playing. It doesn't matter. Monday, the Hawks are in town. I don't care. Come out and go, we're winning that game because we are at home. And if we play the way we're capable of, it shouldn't be a problem. But tonight, at this point, you go, they can lose to anybody on any given night at this point. They look like a very average team. They're not very good defensively. They're inconsistent offensively with nights where they could pop off when they're knocking down shots. But besides that, you go, that's an average team. That's a 500 team. And that's what they're playing like. And 500 this year in the Western Conference,
ain't going to cut it.
You're a play-in team. You want to be a play-in team? You may not be getting a playoff series for the second consecutive year. You may be chilling at home. There's still 41 games to go, but this team has to figure it out with the pieces they have here now. And this front office has to keep looking to push, make some moves. Let's get to a couple of bright spots, because we have spent a lot of time talking about everything that went wrong in this game tonight. I'd say one bright spot, Kevin Huerter. I was worried about Huerter for a minute. We had talked about the fact that he has been struggling he hasn't struggled like this since his rookie year in the NBA. But I kept watching him, and I know you felt the same way. It's like, this guy's 25 years old.
Track record.
He's got a track record. He doesn't have an injury. Like, he needs to get his confidence back. He's starting to knock down shots. He had a career-high 31 points tonight, Morgan. 7 of 12 shooting. This is coming off the heels of a couple of good games. What's your perspective on Kevin Huerter?
Just that I think, or I hope, I'm assuming conversations and communication has been happening behind the scenes. And maybe that has led to some honesty about like what needs to be seen. If you want to be, seeing minutes on the floor, whatever. I don't know. I'm just assuming that some of that shit has gone down, because he has seen more minutes on the floor. And for the most part, it's been deserving, or it's working, and he's helping out this team. He's making an impact in those minutes. And it's not just on the offensive end. You're seeing it on the defensive end too. Now, he's going to have his moments defensively, but I feel like there's a little bit more freedom to mess up. And that has allowed him to take a little bit more pressure off his chest.
He had 31 points tonight, Morgan. He also had 4 assists. He had a block. It's coming off the heels of the 26-point, 10-rebound game he had against the Bucks. He only had 10 against the Suns, but I felt like he was still impactful in that game. He had a couple of steals, 3 rebounds, 2 assists against Phoenix. I thought he should have played more down the stretch, to be honest, in that Suns game. But it's good because he is so essential to what the Kings do. Like, the Kings were awesome last year offensively because Kevin Huerter and the gravity out there and his ability to do things with dribble handoffs, play make. He was lost for like a month and a half. And so it looks like he's kind of turning the corner here, which means some, I think, good things for the Kings.
Yeah, and sometimes your identity as a player, when things are bad or when it rains, it pours. And I feel like that might end up being a lot of his career, unless it's something he can mature over time.
And that's the thing you hope, like you got.
Right. I mean, you say you got to because you want to find consistency in a home, right? And that alone will help you become a better player. But that is one of those things within that he just has to check himself. But it's great to see that he had that career high, hit 7 threes tonight. His shot was looking good. He was taking that shot with confidence, coming off a little DHO action. Again, being active with his hands on the defensive end. Would have loved to see even more, just some of those miscommunication moments, but that happened with everyone.
I thought he had a really good night for Sacramento. I thought Keegan showed some great things. I didn't even realize his final numbers either. Keegan had 27 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 11 of 18 shooting. He only made 1 3.
Wow. Well,
1 of 5. He got a lot of dunks tonight. He was also 4 of 5 at the free throw line. He had that one early baseline attack where he attacked Jalen Smith, went hard to the rim, got fouled. He had some easy jams.
I love the way that he was putting the ball on the floor, going between the legs, kind of surveying the floor, coming back, getting his defender up and going. He had some in the mid-range, and then toward the end, he was just doing a really good job of being in the right place at the right time, whether that was like with a nice little flex cut underneath and or just in transition, just quietly running down.
Why did he get called for a push-off? Remember, he had that that cross. I'm like, he barely extended his arm. It wasn't even extended all the way.
That, again.
He created a little space. Guys do that all the time in the league, but he gets called for it.
I mean, Steph does it.
Yes.
Like, all the time. And it's...
Yeah, but I just... Keegan continues to show me something. And I get... Every time I watch him, I get more and more excited. It's like, yeah, you got to do it consistently, but he's doing it more and more consistently now. And then what he does defensively, dude, this guy's going to be really good.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, there's your bright light right there. Like, being excited about what Keegan can do. And not only what Keegan can do, we're talking about good players on this team. Seeing a stretch of basketball that, when I say it isn't the best stretch of basketball, I'm not talking about within games we haven't seen good basketball, but just executing these games. And executing is pulling out the win in any way, shape, or form. Even tonight, if they had won this game in those last final minutes, I would have been like, just like Mike Brown said, what a fight. What a fight back. Besides that, shit game.
Yep.
I mean, everything else, pretty much bad. But like, in those minutes, if they had found a way to pull out a W within some of that resiliency there in the fourth quarter, it's a different tone that we're here with, but it doesn't take away the shit that we saw.
What if they just beat Milwaukee and Phoenix?
I mean, what if, Deuce?
What if, man?
Well, then we wouldn't be as
Life
mad.
would be feeling so different right now.
Yeah, it would.
Corey in the chat on Keegan, would you guys trade him for Mikal Bridges? That's
No.
my dark horse trade of what happens at the deadline. Not that I want it, but that's what I'm feeling will happen. No. Why?
It's not going to happen. And why would Brooklyn trade Mikal Bridges?
I mean, look, there's some rumors that the Nets may be sellers. They have really fallen apart here, especially ever since coming to Sacramento. They haven't been playing good basketball. I like Mikal Bridges a lot. I've talked to people who say the Nets just love this guy and they want to like build around him. He may not be a number one. I don't think he's a number one. I think he's better positioned as being like your third best player. And would he fit perfectly with the Kings? Yes. But no, I'm not giving up. Look at what Mikal Bridges did in year 2 in the NBA and compare it to what Keegan Murray's doing now. Keegan's already ahead of him offensively. Keegan's showing me some more offensively. He's playing awesome defense. Why can't Keegan Murray be a better player than Mikal Bridges? I am not trading Keegan Murray. Now, of course, you go, oh, you wouldn't trade him for Giannis? Okay, that's not happening. I'm being realistic. I am not shopping Keegan Murray. I think he's going to be a damn good player in this league, and I think he's part of the solution for the Sacramento Kings.
And Zach Lowe agrees with that statement. I love everything that Zach Lowe had to write about Keegan Murray just last week, and it was just about, basically what you hope Keegan is going to be, but not just because you hope and you're like, oh man, this would be great. It's because of what he's showing, the facts. Like, believe your eyes into the improvement in the jump that he has taken on both ends of the floor, his size, his demeanor, all of it.
Also in the chat, shout out to Julie. She says, by the way, Mo, I hope Deuce passed you the bracelet I gave for you and hope you liked it. Yes, Julie, thank you so much. I had it on, I took it off.
I put there's so on.
We have a lot of friendship bracelets this year from fans.
So cool.
You guys are the best.
So cool. There's like 7 of them back there, and we put them on our wall, but on the vision board.
You guys are the best. Also, Mike Brown is still searching. So far, he has only found Harrison Barnes, HB, and the Black Falcon, but that's just, I don't understand that message. Yes, Mike Brown has been searching a lot this year. He was asked before the game too if he's thought about taking Harrison Barnes out of the starting lineup, and he's like, "Look, I've thought about a lot of different things. I've thought about everything." So he didn't really address that specifically, but yeah, I think that's definitely something that we keep looking at. It's like, is that the next tweak you make?
Yeah,
because you know you've done it with other guys like Kevin Huerter. Could you do it with Harrison and just see what it looks like? He can still play him. You can still play. I mean, why can't he play 20 minutes off the bench? Let's just see what it looks like with a different unit. Because I still think, like, maybe you can get him going in that way.
Because, and I think it's always like, oh, are you worried about messing with someone's mentality or messing with anything else when it comes to, like, just understanding their personalities? I get that, but you're also trying to make sure that, you know, your job is safe and you're creating winning basketball. And if you have to go down the line and see what you got to do, then sometimes you got to do that and trust that your teammates will, trust the process.
Who would be your rock and soul player of the game tonight?
A lot of me says Kevin Huerter.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Kevin Huerter, but I could also put Domas Sabonis there with another triple-double.
So his, 8th triple-double or 9th triple-double in 14 games, something like that?
Yeah.
There's like 12th of the season?
Yes.
Who does the chat think should be the rock and soul player of the game? It's already been decided, but I'm just curious because Morgan dropped the Sabonis, Kevin Huerter. So I'm very curious what you go with.
It could be Keegan.
And you mentioned Domantas Sabonis. He did have another triple-double against his former team. 21 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists in this game, 8 of 13 shooting, 5 of 8.
Everything's fine except those free throws.
A lot of people saying Kevin. So what did Deuce Mason decide? Who is a rock and soul player of the game?
I don't know. Oh, my God, you dick.
Morgan.
How dare you?
This TJ McConnell
man.
is a rock and soul player of the game. And look, we'll give Kevin Huerter his love. He was a prime candidate. But I'm giving it to the guy.
Why are you in charge of this?
Morgan. The guy had 20 and 10. He carved you up. TJ McConnell, let's call it the way it is, was the best point guard on the floor tonight.
I mean, he was one of the best players out there tonight. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, people
are disappointed at me. I'm shocked. You know what? Honestly, I thought you guys would have my back on this.
If you had done that in the beginning of the podcast, we all would have been like, yeah, we agree. But like, we have all like decompressed a little. We have processed everything that went down. And you bringing back that heel work, you disgusting man.
I apologize. I thought it was pretty obvious. TJ McConnell got the best of De'Aaron Fox. He got the best of any switches he got. He got the best of the Kings. He got in the paint. He got to the rim. He was incredible. Let me remind you of the fact that this guy is not looking to shoot. He's not, when I say that, shoot from the perimeter. He has made 1 3 this year. He is 1 of 16 from 3.
Make sure you go to Rock and Soul Diner. There's one more weekend game this month.
You like that picture of TJ?
I hate it so much. Saturday, the 27th, last Kings game on a Friday or Saturday for this month, where you can get 50% off your bill following the game. You just go to Rock and Soul Diner and you get 50% off your entire bill. But if you go watch other Kings games while you're there, it's 25% off apps, 25% off drinks during Kings games. Make sure you go check out Rock and Soul Diner.
Well, I got to ask you another tough question, chat.
No.
Sharif Jewelers moment of the game.
Oh, you sick man. You better make this
and we got
right.
more to talk about. All right, because we're halfway through the season. We've got some questions to answer. And our next podcast is probably not going to be until Monday night. Unless something crazy happens.
Deuce is just like he wants to make sure we do something this weekend.
Well, if something big went down, of course.
So
much? Pacers win 126-121 in Sacramento. We have to know no Haliburton.
No Haliburton.
And no Siakam, right? He wasn't there yet.
Correct.
What's the moment of the game?
All right. Moment of the game.
Presented by our friends at Sharif Jewelers. While you think about it, Sharif Jewelers, it's a no-brainer place to go. They are local, and let me tell you, if you want to watch, you need an engagement ring, or you've got jewelry that needs to be repaired, go to Sharif Jewelers. They do the best work in Sacramento. They made the Deepog crown that the Kings use. Haven't used it a lot lately. It's probably collecting some dust. Might as well give it to us to put it back here.
Or
huh?
if Sharif Jewelers will shine it up because they also repair and they clean jewelry all the time. They have like nail salons next to a lot of these Sharif Jewelers. So then you can just go to the salon while you drop off your jewelry to go get washed and cleaned. So make sure you check them out. They have some of the best people there. But literally, too, really quick, I'm always intimidated by jewelry stores. No. They just make you feel so welcome, so good, and it just allows you to look at things maybe you thought you never were going to look at. Go to your local Sharif Jewelers.
So what's your Sharif Jewelers moment of the game?
Let's see. People saying...
I'm sorry. TJ McConnell 20 and 10 has to be there.
Oh, my God. You can put that on there as a note. Yes. Someone said Slamson twerking for cheerleaders. Or what about when he was doing the hammer dance for MC Hammer?
At the end of the year when I pull this game out, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'll never forget when Slamson was doing the twerking thing. No, it's TJ McConnell. We can even mention Kevin Huerter career night.
Fair. Keegan had 8 dunks.
That wouldn't have surprised me if he had 8 dunks total. Is that crazy?
Because the reason why it would be crazy because Willsey Stats put out that the Kings had 8 dunks and the Pacers had 8 dunks. And the Jazz are a team that average the most dunks per game, per night, with 6 dunks per game. And so it was surprising with the way that the Pacers were getting into the paint and just finding easy ways to dunk the ball. But Keegan had like 5, I felt like, right there in that second half when he was just going in transition.
I'm bringing up Keegan Murray's shot chart for tonight. Let me zoom in on that. So Keegan Murray in the paint, 9 of 12. Keegan Murray, 9 of 12 in the paint. 18 of his points came in the paint.
Hell yeah.
Okay, hold on. There's dunk, 2, 3, 4. It might be close. I don't know if it was actually.
Someone else had to dunk.
Yeah. I don't know.
Dude,
maybe it was 6.
Malik almost had that killer
That would have
dunk.
been nasty.
I know.
That would have been nasty. All right, moment right there.
Fine.
Can I tell you one of my most annoying moments of the game that we haven't talked about?
Okay.
Plenty of moments. This is a Deuce Mason heel turn a little bit here.
What?
Let me be a heel for a second. You know, Tyrese Haliburton was questionable for tonight.
Okay.
Tyrese Haliburton was questionable. I see footage of him at shoot around, hitting step back threes. Look, moving great. No problem at all. He misses the game tonight. Okay. All I see him do the entire game is dancing up and down the sideline. When Kings fans are booing Buddy Hield, he's doing booing. Tyrese Haliburton was first team all-troll tonight, and it annoyed the absolute shit out of me. And then I'm on postgame with Morgan and Mike, baby, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm making a point, and I go, I'm sorry. I see Tyrese Haliburton's dad just like popping his Pacers hoodie. This is why it feels so weird tonight, right? Is like
John was bringing the bad energy.
So
he was
annoying.
bringing that energy, rubbing it in our faces like, Pacers, I got the win without my son. I was like, okay, I get it, everyone. But Tyrese, it was funny that he was booing the shit out of Buddy Hield with Kings fans, because even someone asked me, they're like, are you going to boo Buddy the whole time? I was like, can't really do that with my job, but good bit. It's kind of funny. And a lot of people were booing him, and Tyrese joined along.
That son of a gun. Okay, Morgan, 41 games in, literally halfway through the NBA season. Luckily for the Kings, they are off for the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They don't play again until Monday. We all need it. We all need it. What do you think about this team 41 games in? Like, what's the first thing that pops to your mind when I say we are halfway through the season? What do you think about the Sacramento Kings? First thing that pops to your mind. Is it a award?
I would go back to inconsistent.
Yep.
Because, I feel worse than inconsistent tonight after this loss. But we've seen them play such good basketball and then some really bad basketball. The rotations have been inconsistent. The understanding, Mike Brown mentioned it on his post-game presser tonight when talking about the defense being inconsistent. And it's like some nights we're locked in and guys are rotating over, and other nights it's just not there. And so I would mostly say inconsistency. Now, I will say this season in the NBA feels like there's been a lot of inconsistent basketball. I mean, you're seeing nights where the Bucks are losing by 40, and you're seeing nights where the Raptors are winning by 30 or whatever that was. It's like Boston, same thing when it came to playing the Bucks. You're seeing a lot of inconsistency. You're seeing a lot of blowouts. You're seeing a lot of high-level offense in this league. But when I say all this, I'm not justifying shit for the Sacramento Kings. Play your game and play it on a consistent level, even if some teams are going to throw some other stuff at you.
I think the first word that pops to my mind is disappointment.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, heavy.
I think they have thrown away games that they should have won. They've lost
a little heavy for me.
Some really tough games, but there's still 41 games to go too. You know, there's still time. You know, this isn't the NFL. Your season's not over. The cruel reality of this league, though, is this year you've got teams who are playing some pretty high level basketball. Minnesota's continuing to kill it. OKC bounced back after losing a couple. Those are the two top teams in the West. Denver, still a problem. The Clippers, hey, they got criticized by many for the James Harden trade. Looks like it's going pretty well. They're the 4th seed. Pelicans have owned the Kings. They're 5th. Dallas is at 6th. Sacramento, with the loss tonight, has fallen to 7th in the West. Play-in territory. It's way too early to trip about the standings, but my point to that is some of these teams are healthy this year, right? And they're playing some good basketball. This Kings team has been disappointing because they haven't taken advantage of some of these games that they got to win if you're a good team. If you're a good team, you're going to have stinkers every once in a while. You go, man, what happened in that game?
Happens to everyone in this league.
Sure.
But it's happened a lot.
A lot more, and a lot more recently.
Yep.
And the response hasn't been there. I felt like last year this team had guys who fought a little more. The Kings felt scrappy. It felt like they would go down swinging, and it doesn't feel that way this year. So even if the record's around the same, I don't even know what that update is at this point, but I think it's probably the same as it was through 41 last year. It feels different. The offense hasn't been as crisp. We've seen flashes. It's just flashes. No consistency. This team, I think, needs a move in the worst way possible. They need some new life. They need someone who's going to give them, and it may not just be one person, right? But give them a little more edge, a little more toughness, a little more fight, some pop that you can feel every night. Because right now, they don't have that on a consistent basis. And you can't count on, Fox is going through it right now. And this team is struggling. Well, when the Kings were playing pretty good, he was killing it, 30 a game. You need help too. Mm-hmm. He's got to play better, but they need more help if they are going to be a legit team. If they stand pat, expect this. We're going to have nights like this where they lose to shorthanded teams at home. They're going to be around 500, and we're going to be, hey, a play-in game. Okay. Well, Miami was a play-in team last year, and that was amazing. But guess what? That doesn't happen every year. So trade deadline's coming. You don't have to wait till the deadline to do it, though.
Facts.
Thank you, Morgan.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
What's up?
I see where you're going.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
Do you want to get to something? 'Cause
No.
I was going to get to a couple of super chats. Thank you to I Miss You Luke, who says, even when the Kings let us down, we can always count on Deuce and Mo. Appreciate you too. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. It's
Thank
late.
you.
I mean, it's after midnight now.
It is.
It's officially Friday morning. Insane Cookies donates $5 saying, here's a miserable fact. The Hornets have lost 17 of their last 18 games. Their only win in that time is against the Kings. You know, that's actually a stat that we used the other night, I think, on Night Chat, unfortunately, too.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, but it's tough. It's tough. It hurts so bad. What else do you want to cover tonight, Morgan?
Nothing much else. I was gonna say to you, if you don't mind, Coach, I think the lights are hurting my head a little bit.
So what are you saying?
Can I take a timeout?
Are you leaving?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. We can wrap up the pod. Just say let's wrap up.
Because I felt bad. Because no, it's my eye. I think because of the concussion the other day.
Here's what we're gonna do. Because I'm feeling frisky. We're gonna end the audio podcast.
it.
The
Okay.
audio podcast. But I'm gonna hang out on YouTube for a few more minutes to talk to the people.
I didn't want to take that away.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Morgan, thanks so much for hanging out. Kings are off until Monday. We'll be back to talk all about if anything big breaks in the NBA. Of course, we'll have content too. We love you guys, but we gots to go.
See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
Okay, a little post podcast hangout because Morgan is out.
Bright lights are killing me.
Out ski. So
Love
I'll
you
answer
all.
some chats. Appreciate it. I'll also go to Discord, maybe take some calls. What's up, Hustle Man? Are you there? Hustle Man. I can't hear you, Hustle Man, if you're trying to talk. Oh, it's my fault. What's up, dude? You there? One more time. That's on me. Hey. Podcast hangout because Morgan is out.
Bright
Okay,
lights are
I hear
killing me.
myself in the background, Hustle Man. Turn your.
Love you.
Answer some chats. Oh my goodness. Okay, that went well. Okay, let's get to some people in the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments you want to hit, let's talk about them. Someone says Mike Brown will never hold Harrison accountable for anything. He just won't accept it. I mean, you say that Harrison Barnes played 22 minutes tonight. I mean, how many minutes did he play in the second half of this game? Harrison in the third quarter played 6.5 minutes. That's all he played in the second half, 6.5 minutes. So holding someone accountable is playing time. Now, if you want a lineup change, sure. I mean, you could make that case, but his minutes have gone down for sure. Lil Uzi says time to start bench HB, start Trey or even Sasha. I'm cool with changing up. Give me a different look. What postseason success would you be happy with, Deuce? You know, I think it just depends on the matchup. I have a competitive first round series. I think ideally the goal would be advance to the second round. That'd be amazing, but you know, it doesn't always happen that way. You don't always go from first round one year to the second round the next. You know, late 2000s. God damn, I can't talk. Late 90s, early 2000s. That team got bounced in the first round for a couple of years. Felix, Deuce, talk about Fox. So Felix, you do this all the time. You come around when Fox is struggling and you want me to talk about De'Aaron Fox. We talked about Fox. If you want, hit the rewind button. Hear us talk about what's going on with the guy. He struggled with TJ McConnell tonight. He looks like he's banged up. I'm not sure what's happening. He's got to play better. I even mentioned, hey, I'd like for him to talk a little more on the floor. I don't know what else you want. You want someone that come on and yell about De'Aaron Fox. I'm not your guy. I'm not going to come here and scream and yell about players. I'm not a hot take guy. If you want to do that, you can go to If You Don't Like That or whatever you watch. That's just not my style. I talk about the game, what I see. and also keep the same energy. I expect you to be here when De'Aaron Fox is scoring 30 a game every night and the Kings are winning, but you don't. Last year when he was an all-NBA player, you didn't show your face once in the chat. You only come in here during the tough times because you don't like the guy, and it's fine. But stop. It's annoying. It's like, I mean, it's just like you want to bury a guy when he's struggling. It's like, guy has a rough stretch and it's like you're done with the guy. You weren't. Where were you the first month and a half of the season when he's crushing it? You weren't here. Just be consistent. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are you trying to say? Is he a bum now? Like, get out. What's up, Tay? Is it Ty or Tay? Sorry. Deuce, you've talked about trade targets. I'm sure you're over talking about, but who's a guy realistically that you can make a difference that can make a difference tomorrow? I mean, I think some of the names that we know, right, that just pop immediately, you know, like, all right, I think Kyle Kuzma could help this team. If he was bought in, he could help this team. It's not a perfect fit. You know, I've talked myself in to a number of guys. I've even talked myself into Levine. Does he solve your defensive issues? No, but I think he is a dynamic player, and I think about his ability in a dribble handoff situation. You play a little dribble handoff game with him, he can pop the three, but he can also get downhill and attack the basket. I mean, that's an ability that he's explosive. There are shortcomings with it too, but I like his size. He's an interesting guy. DeJounte Murray, you know, I don't know what Atlanta would want for DeJounte Murray, but he's another guy that's a combo guard, effective in the pick and roll. You're taking a swing on him thinking, you know, we can get him to become the defender he was in San Antonio because he was a guy that was on the all-defensive team. He brought it defensively in San Antonio. Hasn't been the case there with the Hawks all the time, but he's dynamic. Another guy that's really good in the pick and roll, catch and shoot three guy, 38% on catch and shoot threes. He also brings a little toughness. This guy had a tough life. He plays the game hard. He loves basketball. I'm interested in him for sure. Those are like some of the bigger ones. You know, Bruce Brown to me is intriguing from the standpoint that I feel like he would check a lot of boxes from a toughness, defensive standpoint. He is 6'4", so a bit undersized, but a guy who can defend a few positions, even deal with some bigs. He's played with a passing big in Denver last year. The ultimate utility guy, smart, can handle another pick and roll guy. He's got a nice floater. I like Bruce Brown a lot. His contract makes it a little complicated because he's making so much money, like $22 million. He has a team option for next year. But you start going, well, are you picking up that option, or what are you trying to do with a deal like that? In terms of the actual player, though, I like him. Jeremy Grant, intriguing. Matisse Thybulle immediately pops him up. Matisse Thybulle would be nice. I'm sure I'm missing some. If you guys want to throw out some names, we can talk about him. Let's see here. Brown is an overrated defender, solid but overrated. Yeah, I don't know that he's overrated, but I think, you know, you can be limited, right? Because the reality is he's 6'4". I think he's got a decent wingspan. I want to say it. Is it like, I'm going to guess it's like 6'8", 6'9". Bruce Brown, 6'9" wingspan. So he's long. But yeah, there are going to be some matchups that it doesn't really matter, right? Because he's not going to like stop some of the premier wings, but he can make life more challenging. Now in Denver, he went perfect there because they already had someone like Aaron Gordon, right? They have some defensive players, KCP. So it just kind of flowed perfectly. He wouldn't be a missing piece for Sacramento. But I'm also like at the deadline, I'm not necessarily thinking, hey, the Kings are looking for the missing piece and that's what's going to turn them into a championship contender. I don't think that's necessarily the case in that regard. You have to be honest with it. You're looking to improve the team. Can you tweak things to make them better that could put you in a position to win a playoff series? And then next year, does Keegan take another step? And could he be a fringe all-star next year? I think Keegan has all-star potential in this league. And if he takes a step, becomes better defensively, becomes more consistent, then you got something really brewing in Sacramento. But it's clear they do need something that defensively, you know, there's just too many times they get burned You know, they got to have guys with size and length, athleticism, and those are costly too. Lil Uzi says, I don't understand Kuzma and Levine trade rumors. Defense is our problem. Look, man, defense is one of the problems with the team, but offensively, they have taken a step down this year. They have not been as consistent offensively, and you need to score in this league too. Again, your next move doesn't have to be your only move or your last move in this build that you're trying to accomplish, which is trying to win a championship. Buckhorn mentions Alex Caruso. Love Alex Caruso. Another tough guy. You know, I just sometimes with these, what is he, 6'4"? I wish there were, you just go, God, I wish Alex Caruso was 6'7". Alex Caruso is listed 6'5". He's 6'5", so solid size, but yeah, a guy who defends multiple positions. I think the biggest thing with him this year is the 3-point shooting is really strong. You know, he's shooting the most threes he's ever shot, and he's shooting it at 41%. You know, he's really tough to. I like Alex Caruso a lot. He would be costly though. You know, if Caruso is out there, like the Bulls aren't just donating him to you. Chuck says Keegan needs the ball more to become an all-star, in my opinion. Yeah, and I think he's starting to get the ball more. I think he's also starting to understand that he's got to look for his more. It doesn't have to be catch and shoot. If you got the ball, go create on your own. Jay says, I'm about being patient. Keep flexibility. Don't take on a third max if it's not a two-way guy. And that's a fair point, Jay. And that's the thing with Levine is like, look, man, that's a lot of money. You know, and he has an injury history. And although he's dynamic offensively, from a defensive standpoint, not there. It's not there. So is that your move? And, dude, I get it. We all want it now. This team has to make some sort of move. But it doesn't have to be like the big swing now, in my opinion. Can you make a couple of tweaks that improves you from a defensive standpoint, adds another ball handler, just really gives you a little more versatility out there, because there are too many times where you're like, man, if you just had one more guy that's similar to Keegan who can defend a wing, that would be nice. Let's see. Sean says, how cool is Mike Bibby? Mike Bibby, just for perspective, I feel so damn lucky. Mike Bibby, I've told the story before, but I remember being like 13 years old. There was an event at Arden Fair Mall, some like Jordan event that he was there. And I went there in hopes to get his autograph. Never got his autograph, but I was just in the presence of Mike Bibby. And I loved the guy growing up. And so the fact that tonight I got to sit down with him, laugh with him, and talk about the game of basketball and pre and post game, it's a holy shit moment. Like I did pre-game tonight with Morgan, Mike Bibby, and Mitch Richmond was a guest. I'm like, what? As someone that grew up rooting for this team, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And Mike's a great guy. The really, really nice guy. Marco says fast break points and points off turnovers are a big reason as to why our offense is worse this season. Yeah, I mean, it also doesn't help when Kevin Huerter wasn't effective for a huge portion of the season. And you're noticing like the Kings offense, wow, they're starting to score a little more efficiently right now. So Kevin's helping in a big way. Nick, why not give Mitchell and Ellis minutes? Yeah, they went to Ellis for a quick minute tonight. But yeah, he didn't play much at all, and Davion's just been out of the rotation. I think they were like, you know what? We like what Malik Monk is doing. We're trying to give Monk more minutes. We're trying to expand that a little bit, and the only way to do that is kind of to make him the backup point guard and see what that looks like. And he had some really nice moments doing that. And you can only play so many guys. It's like, all right, who are you not playing? Because you can't be playing 10, 11 guys all the time. That's really hard. But it brings up to a larger issue is like, do you want Malik as your backup point guard full time? Is that the answer? Or do you need another backup? Like, yes, I hear all that. Why not start Vezi over HB? Yeah, I don't know if Sasha's completely ready to start. I like how they're using Sasha right now. I'm glad he's in the rotation because you see when he's out there, he kind of makes some things happen. He's a threat to knock down a shot, pretty active hands. I like him coming off the bench for the time being. I think there's still defensive breakdowns where some of it's not just individual. It's like maybe just falling asleep on a play or whatever. But I do like that he's playing more. And I think he gets better each time he goes out there. Let's see here. What else do we got? A lot of Mike Bibby stuff in there. Manny, Deuce, if you think who's getting traded on this team, who do you think and why? I mean, I think it's all the names that have kind of been put out there are candidates. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think everything's on the table outside of, at this point, Fox, Sabonis, and Keegan. I mean, I'd probably put Monk in that category as well, but I feel like everything else, don't be surprised. I mean, let's see here. Corey Hauser, Matt Barnes is a guy behind the scenes, seems as real as it gets. He's awesome. Yeah, no, he's great. He's awesome. I've known Matt for the last few years, and he's been awesome to me. Del Campo guy. What is your ideal closing lineup? Feels like this is important in close games in the playoffs. That's a really tough question to answer because it depends. Matchups, everything's matchup dependent nowadays, and especially come playoff time, there's so much tinkering. I even made a note tonight in the second quarter. The Kings had a lineup out there. Let's see, what was it? Just double checking. Was it Monk, Huerter, Keegan, Lyle, Sabonis? Maybe it's one of those lineups. And anyway, I was just watching it. I'm like, man, this is a tough one because they got a lot of athleticism out there. And you know what? Maybe it was the one that was late second quarter. My notes are all over the place at this point. I noticed it when like Sasha and Lyles were out there at one point. I'm like, man, this is a tough lineup with all these athletes that the Pacers have. Anyway, your point. I mean, I think every lineup's gonna have Fox, Sabonis, and Murray, and then after that, I think it's matchup dependent. I think you gotta have Monk out there. Yeah, you do, I think. But like, what about Huerter? And that's like the tough spot for the Kings because they don't have a lot of size either. Sometimes you like having Huerter out there because when he's going offensively, he can do a lot out there too. He can hit threes, he can hit floaters, he can get a little 2-man game with Sabonis, moves well without the ball, and he provides you a little more length out there who can maybe go get a rebound. And when he's locked in, 6'7", right? Decent size. Where Monk, he gives you something different. He can attack the basket, go jam on somebody, lob threat, not scared of the moment, hit big threes, pushes the pace, has another like creator with Fox out there. You can make a point for that. Maybe defensively you lose something at times just from a size perspective, but he's still scrappy out there and he still makes plays. I mean, he's going to block some shots. It's really tough. I like having Trey out there too. I think Trey does a good job spreading the floor and but you talk about closing a lineup. It's like, well, who's out there? Who's out there? Let's see here. At the end of the game, when the Kings need a 3-point shot, why not have Sasha in the game? Are you talking about the final play today? Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Jay in the chat says Brown tinkered a ton last year, and everyone thought they'd be better this year, but the fringe rotation guys haven't been consistent. Brown is the same he was last year. Players need to step up. I mean, yeah, the fringe rotation guys. I mean, think about the guys you're playing last year, though, right? I mean, you're playing Davion, Metu, Terrence Davis, Trey Lyles off the bench last year, and Monk. Some of the guys I just mentioned. Metu's not here, right? Davion's not playing now. It's just different. And I also think there are guys that they expected that they were going to be contributors that have been a swing and a miss. Duarte. I think they thought he was going to help them this year. I think they were really confident that Duarte was going to come in and provide them some toughness. And you understood, like, on the surface, you look at that move for Duarte, trade a couple of picks for him. You go, look, man, like, we need a little physicality. He's tough. if we can get him going again offensively at a down year, but he knows Sabonis. Logically, it did make some sense, but it just hasn't panned out at all. There's been brief stretches, but he's not playing right now. Last year, Terrence Davis was kind of in that role, but Terrence Davis gave you more than what Chris Duarte has given you this year. Like, if you look at halfway through the season last year versus this year, even when Terrence Davis wasn't playing consistently, you knew Terrence Davis can come in and how many times we watched a game where Terrence is like, he hasn't played in 5 games, but he comes in, gives you 15 points. He does something out there. He gave you a little juice. Also, quick shout out, Terrence Davis. Feel terrible for him. He was in the G League playing for the Rip City Remix, the Blazers G League affiliate. Ruptured his Achilles. Tough. Yeah. And yeah, they could have brought him back. Yeah. Attitude Error Mark donates $2. Why does nobody ask Brown why Barnes still plays? I mean, I just don't like. You're gonna go to the press conference, go, hey Mike, hey, what's up? Why do you play Harrison Barnes? I mean, because Harrison Barnes is a good enough player to play. That's why he gets paid $18 million a year. You play him. Now, if you want to talk about should he be starting, that's a different conversation. But Harrison Barnes should be able to give you something, and that's why I keep bringing up the bench thing, because he's has an ability to be a little more aggressive offensively. I even saw that in the Phoenix game. He popped a little bit, and I think coming off the bench would be ideal in that situation for him. Maybe he can look to be a little more aggressively offensively, have more shots with that second unit, get to the free throw line, and his confidence can go up, because from an efficiency standpoint, he's been efficient this year with his shot. Defensively, we know the challenges, right? But, I think there are too many times you look at the end of the night, like, that's all? Cuzzo, Deuce with his KHGK answer. I don't even know what that means. Look, by the way, I know some of the chat, you're down on HB. How could you not be? It's been disappointing. But, you're going to give him DNP CDs, and then how? By the way, let's just play that out. Let's just play it your way. We go, all right, we're not playing HB anymore. Okay, what's that tell the rest of the league? You got to find a way to get him going. You got to find a way to help him be more productive out there. Man, he talks about accountability, yet Barnes gives you nothing on either end and still starts. I mean, you can bring up the starting. That's a fair point. The starting thing is totally fair. But, accountability is also playing time. And he played 22 minutes tonight. The rest of the starters played 38 to 39 minutes. And off the bench, Malik Monk played more than him. Trey Lyles played just a few minutes under him. So, yeah. Michael Scott, what is going on with Fox? I don't know. It's he looks banged up. I mentioned in our podcast with Morgan a little bit ago. I know he's grabbing his shoulder during this game, his hip. Just doesn't look 100%. I feel like this happens every year with him, where he's got a stretch where he's fighting through something and just not himself for a couple of weeks, and you just hope he can get out of it. If not, sit, rest, get better. We got 41 games left. Corey, talking about HB, if he is so efficient, why doesn't he get more involved in the offense? I don't know why that is deleted. Sorry, I'm not sure why someone deleted that. Yeah, he's not. I mean, you've got Fox is going to take more shots. You're going to get more shots for Huerter. You're going to get more shots for Murray. I think they could find ways to get him a little more involved. But, yeah. So, any other thoughts before we get on out of here? Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. It's so late, too. Still going. I love it. Mark Spears tweeted tonight, the Kings are a very hard team to figure out. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So Kings and Hawks coming up next on Monday. This is a long... Having this much time off in the middle of the season is kind of bizarre, because the Kings have been playing, it seems like, every day or every other day. Man. Heading to the game Monday. Bit nervous, Deuce, but hopefully we pull out the win. Yeah, and you hope with a couple of days off, if guys are feeling a little bit, get some rest, get some treatment, get focused. They're good enough to win these games. They're good enough. They may not be like a great team at this point. We know that. They're a very average team. That's what they're proving through 41 games. They're good enough to beat the Hawks at home. So, what is this team ceiling as is? I'd say a play-in team. Great question, Jessica. I'd say ceiling, they could get a top 6 spot. They could still be 6. Because I think the teams around them are flawed too. I'm not impressed with Dallas. They don't scare me. It's more the top 3 than like top 4 with, Minnesota, who the Kings beat, OKC, who the Kings have beat twice. What? Denver, who the Kings beat. Like, what the hell? And the Clippers. Crazy. So, all right, guys. So much fun hanging out with you tonight. Make sure to spread the word about our podcast, all that stuff. If there's anything that big that happens in the league, we're dropping it here. Make sure to drop some comments below. We love you guys, but we got to go. You all have an amazing night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and